Doing the mixing. And,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We are ready.
Okay.
And action.
Hello, everybody. It's time for another in a series of interviews of guest artists appearing at the Hill House on Devil's Backbone, a private open-air music venue on Kenwood Hill in the south end of Louisville, Kentucky. I'm Scott Furkin, and this time I'll be speaking with Teresa, lead vocalist and driving force behind Long, Long Time, a group of dedicated musicians faithfully recreating the iconic sound of one of the best-selling female rock artists of the 70s, Linda Ronstadt. They've been rendering her rich and familiar songbook for audiences consisting of old fans like me and a whole new generation of listeners all across the country, and we're really happy to welcome them to the Hill House tonight. Teresa, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me
And
in this beautiful little tree house.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, well, we're pleased to have you here. Well, we want to talk about the band, of course, but first a little bit about you. When you're not out performing, where do you call home?
So I actually live very close by. It took 2 hours, exactly 2 hours and 1 minute to get here.
Okay.
I live in a little town called Portland, Tennessee. It's just north of Nashville, 30
Okay.
miles. I'm on the Kentucky line, so I kind of feel like Kentucky's partly home too.
Good. We're gonna claim you then.
Yeah, well, happy to have it.
But you're originally from Connecticut?
Yes, the hotbed of country and rock. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about the community in which you were raised and what life was like growing up there.
So I was actually born in upstate New York, moved pretty quickly to Hartford, Connecticut, and grew up there. And honestly, music has been a part of my life forever. I did not sing in church, but I sang in my basement, and I was Linda Ronstadt. Okay. I thought I was her. But I honestly never thought you could be Linda Ronstadt unless you were born. Like, it's almost like I thought, I had this perception that being a musician, being a singer was a royalty thing. You just... I don't know. I remember learning, wow, that I could actually do this for a living in my 20s, and eventually moved to Nashville. And from there, things happened pretty quickly. I got a publishing deal with Warner Brothers, a record deal with Sony. But like a lot of us out there, we get deals and they come and go. And all the key men, if you being in the legal field, you understand what a key man clause is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have one of those because I was a baby artist, but all of my key men and women left the label. It was like they signed me, and then within 6 months they were all gone, and it was a new regime. And I kind of asked to be released and just went off on my own and have had a great little career.
Okay.
So that's a capsulized version of how I got to here.
Your professional journey,
Yeah,
yes.
my little journey.
Do you recall the first time you sang in public?
Yes, I absolutely do. It was for a gong show. You all are my age, so you know what that is. It's a gong show. My high school was hosting a gong show. I think it was to send the cheerleaders to some cheer camp. It was a benefit. And the singer of the school, not me, remember I sang in my basement, but the singer of the school, meaning she sang and was in all of the musicals, we were really good friends. And Michelle and I would sing together after school, but just together, because I realize now I was kind of teaching her how to sing more rock.
Okay.
Because she sang very operatically, And so she said, let's do the gong show together. And our voices just did not blend.
I see.
So I suggested, why don't you sing a verse and I'll sing a verse, you sing a chorus, we'll just do it. So when we got up on stage, there was one microphone in an auditorium filled with all of our friends who did not know I sang, and including my sister who didn't know I sang.
Oh, wow.
And evidently, all of my sister's friends, she was younger than I was, said, oh my God, that's your sister. And she said she sunk into the, slithered down the seat, embarrassed. When Michelle started to sing, the microphone fell. This is a very long story, I'm sorry. But the microphone fell, and because it was so live, it just went boom. And everyone started screaming, gong them, gong them. And I'm like, I'll be darned if they're going to gong us. And Michelle, who's very pretty, just stood there. And I had a guitar, and I had to lumber with the guitar and pull the microphone back up, and I said, sing, just sing. And she started singing, and people were talking, and I have to say, as soon as I started singing, it went quiet. It went quiet. I think I did really well. We ended up winning.
Do you recall what song?
Yeah, oh yeah, we did Desperado, of course.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay.
Full circle. So we did Desperado, and I'll never forget the MC at the end when we won said, so what will you do with the money? And I said, well, with my $12.50. It was $25, you know.
Okay.
Anyway,
But,
it was
hey.
silly story, but there you go.
So your first professional gig, you got
That was
paid.
my first professional gig. I got money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I started being asked to sing at weddings. And, you know, I never charged anything, but I would get these envelopes full of money. They would give me money.
Sure, wedding singers, yeah. get paid.
You know, $100 a song. I'd sing 3 songs during the. And I thought, wow, this is pretty good. And so I've been paid since I was probably 13.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, when did you decide that you could sing and make music for a living?
Well, I guess it's considered professional once you are paid, right?
Right.
I don't know if I'm good or not, but I started getting paid at 13 years old.
Oh.
And I just sang at a lot of weddings, some funerals, some just little parties. My girlfriend played the fiddle. She was actually a concert violinist today, but she started playing violin and then started to learn the fiddle technique. And we would play fiddle contests, and there were so my really first big audience was in front of 30,000 people at the New England Fiddle Contest.
Wow.
That was amazing.
Now, you made quite a name for yourself on the college circuit, I understand. I understand 7-time winner of College Entertainer of the Year.
Yeah, funny as that sounds.
Tell us a little bit about playing to college audiences and what that was like.
So I stumbled upon this organization called NACA, National Association of Campus Activities. And if you remember going to college, you paid an activities fee.
Okay.
That fee paid for people like me, singers, bands, guest speakers, keynote speakers, to come to colleges. And so I would go do conferences all over the country, and they were jury selected conferences, meaning you would submit it for a showcase. You'd get selected, you'd showcase or not. But I showcased every time, it seemed. It was really quite remarkable. And I just, I stopped counting at 1,013 college dates.
I was just going to ask, how many college campuses do you think you've
Lots.
played to? Lots.
And my favorite, because I get asked that, not that you may not have asked that, but I love Cornell University. The campus is beautiful. It's much like this. It's high up on a mountain. It's overlooking Keuka Lake, the Finger Lakes. It's absolutely extraordinary. That's why I think, wasn't it Carl Sagan lived on that campus?
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, now, when you were doing that, were you performing original compositions, cover songs, both?
Both, pretty
Okay.
much both. But
Yeah.
what I would find is, college kids especially, you know, I would ask them, what do you want to hear? And they'd always want to hear your music. So I did a combination of whatever was popular, everything from Madonna to Linda Ronstadt to Bonnie Raitt to whatever was on the radio.
Yeah.
I had a huge repertoire back then.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your songwriting, because I know you've had some really cool experiences with songs that you have written. I'm thinking NASA, Southwest Airlines, Girl Scouts of America. Tell us a little bit about, and we have to talk about Brave New Girls. So let us in on some of those experiences.
So nice. Thanks for reading up on me. Because I'm nobody famous, but I've been very blessed. I'm kind of an example of the fact that you really don't have to have written a song for Garth Brooks to have made quote made it. I happen to have very cool girlfriends, one of which was an astronaut. I met her on a commercial flight, of all things. We were sitting next to each other on an American Airlines flight, and we became fast friends. And we've been friends now for, 35, 40 years. And when it became, so when I actually moved to Nashville, I'd met her right after that. And I got a record deal. As I mentioned, I had gotten this record deal with Sony. And so my first phone call wasn't my mom or my dad or my sister. It was Katie, because Katie beats me at everything. I mean, she's an MIT grad, has, a PhD. She's just, and she's a rocket scientist, literally. So I called Katie and I said, she picked up the phone. I said, Katie, I've got some great news. She said, oh, I can't believe your timing. Me too. I just got my launch date. So she beat me again.
Oh, I don't know about that.
She beat me again.
But
and she went on and on and on. And so I finally, she said, so what's your news? And I just said, forget it. Never mind.
But subsequently, you performed at Cape Canaveral and again
yes.
in Paris for the launch of the International Space Station. So,
yes.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
What happened was, after I got over being mad at her, I wrote a song for her, and it's called Brave New Girls, also known as Katie's song. And it became Katie's mission wake-up song for the first female commanded launch in history. It's very cool.
Yes.
And so I was invited to Florida to perform at the actual launch.
Right.
And Hillary Clinton was First Lady at the time, and she attended the launch. So did her daughter, Hillary. Chelsea. So I sang for everyone at this big luncheon, but then afterwards, the head of NASA, Dan Golden at the time, came to me and said, would you come and sing that for the First Lady tonight? She'll be in the green room before we launch. The launch was at midnight. I said, sure. So I kind of quickly wrote a verse for her. And so from there, I was invited to do all kinds of NASA events, including the launch of the International Space Station.
Pretty cool.
Who knew?
Well, and Brave New Girls then went on to be selected by the Girl Scouts USA as sort of their girl power anthem, right?
Yeah, so then I met a woman who was the CEO of the Girl Scouts in Nashville. She heard that song at a little writer's night and said, would you come and sing that for my girls? And her girls were CEOs of all the Girls Scout councils. They weren't little girls.
Yeah.
And then I started being asked to sing at all these Girl Scout events. Then that woman, Kathy Cloninger, that initial woman, became the CEO of all of Girl Scouts, moved to New York City. They're actually, Girl Scouts of the USA's headquarters is on Fifth Avenue. They have a very cool address.
Yeah.
And so ever since, then I started to do custom, I wrote a whole album of Girl Scout songs. And so if you call up Girl Scout headquarters, I'm the on-hold music. I actually have a song called Cookie Time.
Okay. Well, I would encourage everybody listening to go to YouTube and put in Brave New Girls and see a really cool music video.
Well, one caveat.
Okay.
You've got to put Brave New Girls Teresa, or you're going to get Britney Spears.
Oh, okay.
She hijacked my song title.
Well, Brave New Girls Teresa. Yeah, and you'll see a cool music video, which I understand you performed or led the singing of that on the National Mall in Washington for like 250,000 Girl Scouts assembled there. Pretty cool.
So that was the world's biggest, they called it the world's largest sing-along. 250,000 Girl Scouts came to the National Mall for a big concert. Several of us were performing, and it was, what was I going to say about it? It was pretty cool. It was for the 95th anniversary of the Girl Scouts.
Okay.
Their birthday, yeah.
Well, a little bit more about your songwriting. You have a company called Your Song, and you'll do custom anthems for organizations and individuals and such. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
So Your Song is just basically, I'm going to write a song for you. So if you were getting married, or if it was your anniversary, and you wanted to surprise your significant other with a custom song, I would basically, sometimes it's a secret thing, and sometimes it's something that the couple will do jointly or a company. I basically, if it's the Girl Scouts, Or if it was Southwest Airlines, I take their mission statement, put it in a song. If it's a couple, I'll take and basically put their love story to music. And it's very customized to you. So,
Cool.
so I've done that too.
Right.
Yeah, I'll do anything for a living. We'll sing for food, as they say.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your connection to Linda Ronstadt, and I guess start by asking what led you to form Long, Long Time as a tribute to Linda Ronstadt.
You know, every little girl that grew up in my era sang her music, and we all, I mean, When Will I Be Loved was our anthem. It's still our anthem, and I won't allow men to sing along with me for that song.
Okay.
That's a girl song.
Okay.
But I just loved her music, and as I mentioned, I started in the basement. You know, in the South, people don't have basements, but in the North, we have basements. And I would slide down into my basement, and my dad was a cabinet maker, and he had brought home this giant mirror. It was huge, and that he had found at a house, you know, and he didn't want to throw it away, so he brought it down there and put it in our closet downstairs. And I would slide all the clothes. These were our winter clothes or summer clothes, depending. We'd switch out closets. I would slide them over, and I would put on a dress, and I was Linda Ronstadt, and I would sing at the top of my lungs.
Kind of sounds like the curtains opening on the
It
on
was,
the show.
yeah, kind of funny, like
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the looking glass.
Yeah, yeah.
And so as I got older, I got in a little rock band when I was 17 years old, and we sang. The only female artists were Linda Ronstadt and Bonnie Raitt and Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac. So those were the songs we did.
Well, how long has Long, Long Time been performing?
You know, right before the demic, everything is, you know, used to be BC, AD.
Yeah.
Now it's, you know.
Pre-COVID.
And I call it the damn demic myself, but that's my nickname for it.
Okay.
So right before the demic, we had formed and started and actually videotaped and, you know, had a beautiful little video done. And we were going to start on a little tour in April, and we were locked down in March. So it's been a slow go, and now we're kind of ramping it all up again, and so that, I guess, I don't know, how long ago was that now? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Is it 5? That's crazy.
How do you approach the challenge of rendering Linda Ronstadt's songs?
Oh, so I'm almost embarrassed to say I'm the lead singer in a Linda Ronstadt tribute band. How dare I? Because nobody sings like her. And I've had an opportunity to work with her in a studio, and nobody sings like her. She can actually sing quietly, and it still be perfection. And so I've always been a fan, and I had an opportunity. It's too long of a story to tell you, but I'll intersperse bits of the story when we're singing. But basically, I had an opportunity to work with her. She liked my music. It was crazy.
Well, we'll look forward
And
to
she
hearing
ended up
more.
singing backup vocals on my project, which is really crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If we ever come back here, we're getting in the process of pulling her vocals off of the track, so that we can have her sing with me when I'm doing something like this.
Awesome.
And listen, I'm actually not the star of this show tonight. There's a guy here that is sitting behind that desk. His name is Buford Jones, and he actually mixed all of her tours. So the real treat tonight is that guy, Buford Jones, and I want him. I'd love him to tell a few stories. Actually, he's got more stories. He's mixed sound for Pink Floyd. You name it, he's mixed it for 40 some odd years, and so we have this extra treat, the band, of having the guy that mixed the real Linda Ronstadt mix us.
Well, tell us a little bit about the other guys in the band.
So everyone is much more accomplished than I will ever be. Everyone has played with, you know, our bass player, Mike, has played with everyone, Roy Orbison, and everyone else. And it's that same, Delaney has played, our guitar player has played with, on the Opry for 10 years. He was the Opry guitar player. Everyone has had an incredible career. And we've got one guy in particular who's going to have an incredible career. He just graduated with his master's from, he graduated from Yale first, shabby, and then moved on to Belmont to get his master's in music composition. And Andy's phenomenal, our drummer. I love him. And he's got his own career. He's got CDs that I should have had him bring here tonight. But, and who am I missing? I think I got everybody.
All right.
They're all really fabulous.
Well, we know that you have performed on stages all across the country and abroad, and so we are just thrilled to have you at the Hill House
And outer
tonight.
space.
And outer space.
You know, when I moved to Nashville, I moved to be Garthina Brooks. That was my goal. I wanted to be. And so my joke now is, you know, I actually got to outer space, and he can't say that. So.
Right. Well, we're glad you landed at the Hill House tonight, and we're looking forward to the show. So
Thank you,
I'm going
Scott.
to
I
let
really
you
appreciate
get
it.
started. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I'm going to go change. All right. Oh, thank you.
That was charming.
Oh, good.
Well done.
Good.
So I'm delighted. I'm pretty
Thank you.
fascinated with the stories.
Yeah, so as far as the hour set, you know, you might have to cut it off, so just we'll figure it out. Okay.
I will.
Well, we'll make this as good as we can. I'm gonna change. I know you said stay casual, but I'm, you know, I'm gonna be.
You got to be comfortable.
I gotta be, yeah. And it's beautiful. The weather is actually nice.
It's turned out.
I just don't like that my hair is so fuzzy, but that's okay.
All right. We'll let you get to it.
Okay.
We'll see you in a
All
bit.
right. See you in a
Thank
few.
you.